Hear me out. What if they filmed the original cast, the main lead cast, all of the children, when they were still kids, like way back in 2016? What if they filmed a scene or multiple scenes in 2016 of them actually
look at me.
After rewatching Stranger Things 5 Volume 1, I got a couple of theories that range anywhere from insane to delusional, but as long as there's delusion, there's hope. Like what Vecna's true motivation is, who I think the real main villain is, some surprise connections to characters past, how Stranger Things Season 5 is just Star Wars all over again, and how I think Stranger Things all comes to an end. So it's time for Sammy's delusional theory time. Either way, me and you know what we gotta do. We gotta talk about it because friends don't lie. This is your spoiler warning. We're about to enter the upside down. Starting off with my personal favorite theory, and that's the fact that Vecna is going to be a sympathetic and empathetic villain. But not only that, he's specifically gonna be Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. And I'm not just saying that because the Duffer Brothers confirmed that his entrance scene in episode 4 was heavily inspired by the Rogue One scene. I mean, don't get me wrong, giving Vecna like plus 10,000 aura was insane and necessary, but it's actually crazy how many similarities both of these characters share. And no, I'm not just talking about the fact that they were both charred corpses at
The 4 best Stranger Things theories, and the last one will impress you. First, the Mind Flayer is the true villain. The series makes it seem like the main villain is Vecna, but the theory says he was always just the agent working for the Mind Flayer. Henry Creel was a normal child until his first trip to Dimension X in 1959. When he returned, the Mind Flayer began manipulating his mind, planting ideas that led him to murders, and later to the program that turned him into 001. When he was sent again to Dimension X by 11 in 1979, Henry shaped the dark particles into the form of a spider and believed he had created the Mind Flayer, but the theory says it was the opposite. Second, 11 and 8 will defeat Vecna.
Stranger Things Wave 3 is coming to Fortnite. So it's now been revealed that Dust at the very least is now dropping in Fortnite in a Wave 3. So with the brand new Stranger Things season dropping very soon, we could be seeing a multitude of other skins. And along with this, in a sad update, Grogu is not coming to Fortnite. Epic Games only used him as a demo in the files. We have some new info on Chapter 7 once again. So there's an unknown storyline object called the Shape. And this thing is absolutely massive. And this will be joined alongside the Ice King now returning as a boss in the Chapter 7 island. And the co-founder of Epic Games now promises to keep the storyline very much alive. And a Fortnite dev also notes the next upcoming live event to end the Simpsons season is the best event he's ever seen in his entire life. And on the Simpsons Island, we could be seeing the return of Mecha and Cadus very soon, as this was seen inside the Fortnite trailer. And finally speaking, Winterfest is being actively worked on. There's going to be a brand new event very similar to what we see with Mariah Carey. The Winterfest cabin is now back, and really enough, on the Chapter 7 Island, there's going to be a minimal amount of snow. So I'm definitely curious, what do you guys think about today's news?
Did you notice Vecna touching Will's face? No one realizes Vecna is his real father. You must have spotted Vecna's soft spot for Will. He didn't unleash the Demogorgon against him. Instead, he gently brushed his cheek. Clearly, Will is special to him. Remember, Vecna brutally killed his own parents. But with Will's mom, Joyce, he only pushed her lightly. This weird behavior might mean Joyce was his lover, and Will is their son. Don't forget Will's strained relationship with his dad, Lonnie. Lonnie was even impatient when Will went missing. No parent acts that way. Obviously, Lonnie isn't Will's biological father. Vecna's flashbacks show when he moved to Hawkins in 1959, he and Joyce were classmates. They were super close. Joyce even helped promote his school play. And after Will vanished, everyone thought he was dead. Only Joyce believed he was in the Upside Down. Maybe she already knew about the Upside Down, thanks to Vecna. Most importantly, Vecna always calls him by his full name, William, not the nickname Will everyone else uses. That's how a father talks to his son. No doubt about it, Vecna is Will's real dad. In Season 4, Will even showed the exact same power as Vecna, controlling the Upside Down's monsters. Plus, they've always had a strong telepathic bond. This totally proves Vecna is Will's father. Do you agree?
L
is actually the real villain in Stranger Things. Remember Will in the very beginning of the season?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the one taken into the Upside Down.
Yeah.
The theory saying it was actually 11 that made Will get caught. When Will was running away from the Demogorgon or Vecna, whoever, right? There's a scene where the door lock unlocks itself.
Yeah.
Now, the director said in an interview that Demogorgons are not able to do that.
Yeah, obviously.
Only things with psychic
Powers.
abilities.
Yeah.
Right? Now, who's the only other psychic?
L.
Elle or Vecna, right?
Yeah.
Now we know Vecna definitely took Will.
Yeah.
But even in season 1, there was a very unanswered reasoning why Elle already knew Will. Remember that one scene where Mike is showing a picture of his friends, and then Elle looks at the pic, she goes, Will. She knew who the fuck that was already. Elle was actually running from the Demogorgon or Vecna, and she unlocked the door to let the monster in to take Will instead of her. Also, she would have hid in the backyard shed. Later in that season, they find out there's a sleeping bag in that shed.
Yeah.
Also, when Will runs to the shed, the light in there is already on. And then, even in season 1, there's a scene of her saying, I opened it. I'm a monster.
Oh, I did see.
If this theory became true, it would be the biggest plot twist in Stranger Things history. So we all know right now, Henry Creel, aka Vecna, is going around collecting kids and putting them in his mind. Because essentially he wants to gather all these kids and create his army and control all of them. He even said so himself, the reason he's taking kids is because they're weak, they don't understand, yada yada yada. Well, I have a theory that it actually isn't Henry Creel doing any of this. You see, in season 5 episode 3, we see that Max is literally trapped in Vecna's memories, and so is Holly Wheeler. But what if Henry Creel is actually stuck in his own mind along with Max and Holly, and it's not him controlling his body, and his body is actually used as a vessel for the Mind Flayer, meaning the Mind Flayer has been Vecna this entire time. The Mind Flayer has been the one causing havoc across all of Hawkins. The Mind Flayer is the real villain. And this is why Noah Schnapp said in the interview that Vecna is one of the most misunderstood villains of all time, because he's not the one controlling any of this. It's all the Mind Flayer portraying Henry Creel as the ultimate villain. But in reality, he hasn't had any control this entire time ever since he got possessed when he was a kid. This would go down as one of the craziest plot twists ever, and it would also make a ton of sense. Because whenever Will Byers got controlled by the Mind Flayer, he couldn't control any of his emotions, any of his actions. He pretty much got Bob Newby killed indirectly, and Will Byers was only possessed for a short period of time. Imagine being possessed for a majority of your life like Henry Creel. Let me know what you guys think about this theory, and if you think Henry Creel actually isn't the real villain and instead it's the Mind Flayer.
Hey guys, I have a theory on this scene from the trailer. First thing is people are not sure who's who, but I think I know. This is very clearly Dustin. I can tell by his hair and his outfit hat, which he is seen wearing other times in the trailer. This is Lucas, you can tell by his hair and his hand. This is Elle, you can tell by her bun and her outfit, which she is seen also wearing again in the trailer. This is Mike. I know this because of his sleeve. He wears this sweater multiple times in the trailer. This is where most people are confused. I believe this person is Will. One of my reasons for this is Jonathan is seen holding this person by the head. He also seems teary-eyed. Jonathan doesn't seem like the type of person to hug someone like that unless they are very close. We know this person is not Nancy or another one of the older characters because Dustin, Lucas, Elle, and Mike are all hugging them as well, which would make sense because they are all so close to Will. This is what leads me to believe it is Will. I'll get into why that is important later. There is another person seen standing in the back. It's very hard to tell who it is. It could be anyone, but I believe there is a high chance of it being either Nancy, Robin, or Joyce. The background. To me, this looks like a hospital, waiting room, or it could be where Robin hosts the squawk. There isn't much to go off of, so it's pretty hard to tell. However, I don't think it has much importance to the actual scene anyway. I think the most likely scenario is this is Will's coming out scene. Him being hugged by the people he's closest to, while Jonathan holds his head like that. To me seems like something very important to what just happened. Obviously, we know Will is closeted, and last season Jonathan asked Will to open up more. He reminded Will he could always talk to him. This, along with Robin's speech, makes me think Will has either gained the courage to come out, or it was something that was forced, probably forced by Vecna in some way, if that is the case. I could be totally off though, and this could be a reuniting scene, or a scene after the battle at the magazine that we saw in EP4. Maybe this is after Will discovers his powers and after he was hurt by Vecna. I do, however, believe this isn't a scene where someone died. I saw some speculation around that theory, and while it could be true, I think Jonathan's expression doesn't match that scenario. He looks almost happy or relieved. His expression is filled more with love than sadness to me. If anything, he looks worried. I think you could also see him slightly smile at the beginning of the clip. If someone you know just died, you wouldn't be smiling. Regardless of all of this, I think this scene looks very sweet and I will probably cry. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye, guys.